Welcome everybody. We have GoodDr and Spike from Techno-Feudal Citizens. We also have TheGreatAxios and myself, LordGandhi from MyLilius here today. We're just going to dive a little deeper into what Techno-Feudal Citizens is and what they want to do long term. Good Dr. Spike, you want to give yourself any small introductions?
Sure. We began this project with the hopes of creating a brand within Web3 that's quite a bit different than every other project that's already out there. One that's, not a hype machine, that's focused on quality, creating a community of critical thinkers, people who want to make genuine contributions both to our community and society at large. And I don't, Spike, maybe you have something to add.
Um, yeah, I mean that was pretty good. We've been working on this project for a couple of years, but it finally sort of came into fruition a couple months ago, and from there we're really hoping that we can just make a difference.
Or you say you've been working on it for a couple of years. What was the starting point that made you guys actually go down this road?
Right. Well, let me think, I guess it'd be like 4 years ago, we started working on a different project that was related to cryptocurrency. The same fundamental ideology of um, trying to create a platform where individuals could maintain their sovereignty on the internet and have that expand into day-to-day life by redirecting the control of uh, individual monetary systems back to each person via blockchain. However, we've found with the release of NFTs that it would actually be much more effective to have a community where you're encouraging change uh, through dialogue rather than just creating another system where you might be able to people can just mindlessly um, interact and use our or people could have just mindlessly interacted and used our cryptocurrency and nothing actually would have came of it. However, with NFTs, there's been the development of an interesting environment where and right now that's primarily through the medium of Discord, where people actually get to consistently communicate with one another about uh, the project that they're a part of. And simply by holding an NFT and being an active member of the community, everyone has a voice. And so this creates a much better environment to foster the kind of change that we're imagining, which is critical thinking, particularly on the internet, and um, contributions to society at large based upon the fundamental principles that Web3 was founded upon: democracy, individual sovereignty, and privacy.
Gotcha. I mean that honestly sounds amazing, like a breath of fresh air to the current communities that we have going on, and even just like day to day life at the moment. I know I would probably want to be part of that community. Just have critical thinkers around me, just close that I can have discussions with. I know you guys do philosophy talks and just dive deeper into certain topics throughout the months. That seems pretty interesting. My one question is, you are launching an NFT project, but you also have the community. Do you need to purchase your NFT to, or hold your NFT to be a part of the community?
Well, so the, the plan is to have multiple layers of this. Obviously, we don't want to be exclusionary,
Hmm.
um, but having one of our NFTs will offer you exclusive access to what we call the underground lot.
Gotcha. That seems reasonable. Um, so it's you, yourself, Good Doctor, and Spike as the team members right now, or do you have
Well,
more team members?
we
We've got a
do.
few. We have a few other people on the team and some outside investors who have been helping us along the way.
Okay.
But
So you got some.
we are the core components behind the scenes, especially.
Okay, awesome. So you have some good backing. How big is the community right now?
We're
Uh,
approaching 10,000 followers on Twitter, and
Wow.
we've been growing on Discord. We're hoping that in the next couple days we'll surpass 10,000. We're still
Awesome.
pretty small, but
Oh.
we are still pretty new, so we have a lot of time to grow.
When do you guys kind of officially launch this to the public?
We officially launched it several months ago, but we only just yesterday released our website, and that was the first piece of real information that we've really provided. So yesterday was really the start of everything to come.
Also,
Awesome.
our
What's the
official marketing campaign began at the beginning of April, from
okay?
what I remember. So
So you guys really gained ground. What's the official website? You mind just saying it out loud? We'll drop it on the screen here.
yeah, absolutely.
Techno-Feudal.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, so Techno-Feudal. Why did you choose that name? It obviously has, well, to me, it seems like it has some type of political um, agenda there. Is that true? Is that just a insane statement?
Right. Well,
I think it's more of an anti-political agenda, a little bit. But
we're,
Good Doctor, we can go into this.
well, there. I would say so. Techno-feudalism was the term was coined by the former finance minister of Greece. His name is Yanis Varoufakis, um, and it's fundamentally an economic system, just like capitalism. But of course, economics and politics are deeply intertwined. So it is to some degree. We do to some degree have clear political uh, agendas, I suppose, is an accurate word. But to explain the name techno-feudal citizens, you have the root of that is techno-feudalism, and Yanis Varoufakis points out that particularly in the way the internet is developed and technology is developed, we've moved beyond uh, capitalism. As capitalism, you have clear structures of how money changes hands, at least in the sense of you clock in at 9 a.m., you clock out at 5 p.m. That's your work. You go home and you're done providing capital. You get directly compensated for the capital. did provide, and obviously it's a little more complicated when you get into consumerism, but that's the fundamental principle, at least when it comes to labor. However, with the way data and technology is developed, we, or data collection in particular, we're constantly providing capital. So every time we do a search on Google, we're adding to that algorithm, which adds capital to Google. Every time we click on an ad on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, we're adding to the algorithm, which adds capital to those companies. And then beyond that, and what, uh, and well, first of all, the underlying thing of why that's a indication of feudalism as opposed to capitalism is you're not being compensated for that. You're subservient and, well, you're subservient isn't necessarily the right word. You're adding value to the system as a whole without getting anything in return. So in a traditional feudal system, you'd have a, lord, a feudal lord, and they'd essentially own everything. So imagine, like, you're in London. London is owned by one person, and every shop and street and house is owned by one person. In that way, every transaction that occurs within London, whether it be social or uh, explicitly economic, adds capital to the infrastructure of London, and the individual who owns London, John Doe, is profiting from that. Now, what Varoufakis points out beautifully is on a platform like Facebook, not just, uh, you don't just have this situation where everything on Facebook is owned by essentially one person. I mean, obviously there are shareholders, but if you get down to brass tacks, one person is fundamentally in control of the company. Um, and one step beyond that, because of the capital that you're adding into the algorithm, and everyone who uses the platform adds into the algorithm, and then the algorithm decides what you see. So even what your eyes see is directed by, in this case, an AI algorithm, but if you extrapolate upward, that's one person. So it's in some sense an even more uh, radical and, I dare say, dystopian feudal system. And the background is technology. And so, to kind of wrapping statement, Techno-Feudal Citizens, we are citizens of this Techno-Feudal system, and we're opposed to it.
So we're all citizens. So I mean, you made some bold statements here, and I mean, so there's bound to be people that disagree with your motives for this project. Are they welcome to join? Are they welcome to voice their opinion and just have that discussion with you all?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, that's changed my mind, right? Like, the platform we want is a platform that grows and adapts to its environment. And I am, I've been wrong a lot in my life, and in terms of my ideas. I mean, they've evolved and are my philosophical ideas and political and economic and so forth. And they've evolved over time, and that's essentially due to dialogues with other people and books written by other people. So I encourage and actually love disagreement. So we want to make sure that's a key factor on our platform.
Awesome. That all sounds really great. Just to kind of follow up here, just with kind of a couple general thoughts that I think hopefully can help the community kind of get on board, and just to kind of help individuals that, I mean, let's be honest, this is a pretty abstract conversation, right? The idea itself is abstract. So I want to dive a little bit deeper in a second and just try to hopefully, without giving away too much of what you guys want to do, get an idea of where are you trying to go, a little bit more deep. But to start, just in terms of Web3 itself, as right now it's very developer centric. There's a lot of really good developers involved. People want to participate on development of communities because of the fact that they believe that by helping out projects that they're making the world a better place. Simply for the fact that people are trying to do great things like you guys, right? And so, what are your plans, short, mid, and long term to allow people to come in and potentially edit pieces of the platform, potentially help community-based smart contracts, things like that, to try to not only make it more community focused, but also to allow individuals to participate directly in the building of this techno-feudal society.
And that's a good question. I mean, well, first, just to clarify, we really hope that we don't continue a techno-feudal society. If though we don't know what the answer is, I mean that's hopefully what uh, having many different minds can bring. What makes a good society? What is a great society? How do we cultivate that? Um, and in terms of future development within uh, the platform itself, our smart contracts, these sorts of things, um, we imagine we hope to have consistent community contributions. Obviously, we want to make our code, anything we develop, open source, because that also gives back to the community, and also take any suggestions to make our developments better, or suggestions for new development. I mean, and that's why it's particularly exciting to have a conversation with you all, because you all are doing some great things development wise. So.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's all really good information. I think obviously being open source is a big deal. Even in Web3, it's not as common as people think. So I think that's definitely a great piece here that'll help kind of the community, build some trust in the community. Um, let's take that kind of into, you know, developers come in, developers need to build things, right? The question is, what are they building? And I think that is where my next question kind of comes into play is, I've heard a lot of great thoughts, a lot of great kind of, communication back and forth between, LordGandhi, yourself, Spike, and just one thing I'm trying to understand a little bit deeper, personally, is you want to build a community of critical thinkers. I respect that because obviously critical thinking is a skill in itself, and to be honest, we don't develop it as much as we used to. So that in itself is great. From there, right, specifically on your website, under your trajectory, point number 2, in that paragraph, you talk about making the physical world a better place again, right? And obviously, you want to participate, up front with, some humanitarian efforts and things like that, which are absolutely amazing. And so one thing that I just kind of want to, get a little bit more info on, if you're willing to share, is how do you plan on essentially deciding what these efforts are going to be? Because obviously, like you have a community, right? People talk and do things like that, but what's the process for, me coming in and saying, I think we should do this, and proposing, and the community deciding what is that process going to look like, in order to allow this community to make the world a better place?
I don't think that we can uh, give you the specific process yet, but what we can say is that owning one of our NFTs is going to give you the say and the power to suggest things and to actually change what happens in our community. And so I think a lot of these future efforts are going to have to do a lot with what people in the community suggest and how much backing those things get by the rest of the community. Because we won't necessarily go forward with everything that every single person says, but if the community at large agrees with the efforts, everything that's possible that we can do for that, we will try and do. I think one of the reasons we aren't able to give you that many specifics just yet is because a lot of it's going to come from the community and other people within there. Because a lot of what we're trying to do, again, is give everyone who is a part of our community a voice. And so while
Well,
the specific process of what that looks like isn't necessarily available to the public yet, what we can say is that the community will be deciding on these efforts.
Right. So
community
hold on.
funds can go. Yeah.
No, so that makes sense to me. So you've got some kind of organization coming into play, which I respect that. I really respect that. I love that. I guess let me rephrase my question, just because I think this is one of the biggest issues that a lot of projects find themselves in. Um, is there's no, like, this is it. Like, if someone asks the question, there's no, like, this is the answer. So to be candid about it, what I want to know is, what is the goal of the community? Because I've got humanitarian efforts, I've got building a nightclub in LA. What I'm trying to understand is, we have a community of critical thinkers, right? We're trying to make the world a better place. Is there this is how we're going to make the world a better place, by pushing money to people that need it? Is this it's kind of a mishmash of whatever we can do to make the world a better place? Or is it, we're not necessarily just trying to make the world a better place, we're trying to make people's lives better, and that's how we're making the world a better place, and we're doing that through this community? And if it is through that community, are we looking at something similar to a DAO, where individuals know that they're truly contributing to an organization that is backed by, essentially, a bunch of computers, and is completely hands off?
It's a very good question. I mean, obviously, I was posing the nightclub as simply an example. That's not something off the bat that um, we're planning on doing, at least at the moment. But yes, I think to describe the best description of, if you were to nail it down, what are we trying to accomplish? You always start, if you want to make a society better, you start at the individual level. How do I make myself better? And then you branch out. How do I make my family better? How do I make my street better? And then, my neighborhood, and so on and so forth. Uh, And so what you said, we want to make people's lives better, and in that way make the world a better place, I think is the most accurate description. And what that can look like, and why I believe it to be the most accurate description, that can look like humanitarian efforts to Ukraine. That can look like a clubhouse in, San Francisco. That it can take the form of play, like for instance a clubhouse, or it can take the form of what we're definitely doing, which is uh, monetary donations that are towards quite serious causes. And we want that open-ended structure in order to really give the community a say in, all right, this is what makes the lives of people, whether it just be the lives of people who hold TFC NFTs, or the lives of people somewhere else in the world totally unrelated, or relatively unrelated to our project. And to answer your question about the DAO, or is this going to be a DAO? We're not going to comment on that at this point. So.
Fair enough. No, that's that.
Also something that a good doctor touched on, but I don't think said super explicitly, is that one of the, so in fostering a community of critical thinkers and people who are like us interested in helping the world, something that providing a physical space does is allows groups of those people to be in the same place, which we would hope would then result in those people formulating ideas to better the world and together working on figuring out some projects that we at Techno-Feudal could then continue with and actually turn into a reality. So by putting people together who have these same views, hopefully will promote more positive change just in them being together.
Or
and
different
having
views. Yeah.
Or different views as well. But
Right. Yeah.
But if multiple people are interested in bettering the world and they're all in the same place, it'll be easier for them to figure it out together than separately.
Fair enough. No,
Awesome.
that's good. I think you answered the initial question very well, which is the end goal is to be open-ended on purpose, and I think that's something that isn't seen that much in this space. Generally, the founders have a vision, or the community has a vision, and whatever it is, that's kind of where it starts, and that's where it either succeeds or fails. And I think the fact that you're open-ended in general can provide some very interesting, uh, literally trajectory for the project. Right? You don't really know where it's going to go, and I think for a variety of people, when they think about you see like all the, how can I make the world a better place? How can I be better? These things, I think that kind of structure and framework is really going to be an interesting addition to the Web3 space, and really allow some people to get involved that haven't been able to, because they haven't found anything that they can kind of latch onto. And I think in this space, even if maybe you're not the most critical thinker, but if you want to get involved in something and you're not sure what, I think that this project could potentially be a really good fit for you, right? Because it is ideally open-ended. There is no true direction. The true direction is no direction, and I think that's something really awesome. Lord Gandhi, back to you.
No, yeah, I'll have to agree. I really like where you're going with this project. I think that MyLilius, well, myself and GreatAxios would support, and MyLilius as a whole will support the project. Is there anything that you're looking for support from the communities, support from us, that you want to voice today, or kind of letting it ride for now?
I'll let Spike as the head of marketing be the one who answers that question. He's probably going to ridicule me for saying too much already.
Can you repeat the question?
I was asking, like, do you need any support anywhere from the community side, from MyLilius? Where can we help?
Well, I mean, to keep it kind of general but very true, I think that really what we just want community. You know, we want anyone and everyone to come say hello and give us their thoughts, because I think at the end of the day, this project, seeing where it goes, is going to be just as interesting an experience for us, both interesting and mysterious an experience for us as it will be for everyone else, especially post-mint. So it'll just be very interesting. So we want anyone who's willing to participate, anyone who's willing to think, anyone who's willing to, even if you're not necessarily practiced at critical thinking, if you're just interested, if you just want to learn more, if you just want to be around like-minded people, you know, come on over.
Gotcha. Well, you guys heard it first from Spike. If you have a thought, if you're a critical thinker, you want to have a discussion with like-minded people, join the Techno-Feudal Citizens Discord. Go to their website, and you'll find a home.
Yeah, and if you totally disagree with everything we're saying, yeah, come anyway. Tell us why.
Exactly. All right, awesome. Well, this conversation was very enlightening for me. I think that your project has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to what you guys do in the future.
Thank you. I know we are both very excited to see what happens with MyLilius, because from everything I've been reading about you guys, and from what I know from talking to you guys, it's a super interesting project, and I hope that you guys succeed as well and go forward.
Oh yeah, thank you. We're hoping to do our best so we can support projects like yourself and other dApps or NFT projects, DAOs that come along. Our technology is mainly for people that have a cause they want to complete or a goal they want to complete, and they just don't have that technical knowledge or experience behind them. It's also for people that want to get into the metaverse / Web3 space. They're kind of scared that MyLilius is a place where you can get into this. You're comfortable. You will have a home. Trying to get into new goals. So, I mean, I think that TheGreatAxios has really been digging deep lately, pushing that development, and we should be out shortly to support projects like yourselves.
Excellent. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Best of luck.
You as well.
All right. See you.